January in South Carolina is a great time to get stuff done to prepare for the garden or to clean up from the fall. And it's also a time when we still have stuff growing. Let me show you what we have going on in Zone 8A in South Carolina in January. You might think that in the winter there's nothing going on in the garden, but it's actually a great time to get a lot of work done. When all of our plants are in hibernation, the sugars of the plants go down into the roots, and that is one of the best times to relocate plants and also to prune plants. So I relocated this grape from over there. I moved one of my blackberry shoots, my thornless blackberry shoots, up over here, because when I put the fence in for the sheep, it went right through my berry patch. So I relocated these blackberries over here, and then I've got one more grapevine over there I need to dig up and move over here, but it was outside of the fence, so I didn't have to worry about the sheep eating it. I still have a lot of cleanup that needs to get done in this garden. This is a cauliflower down here, and then over here you can see these little shoots coming out of the ground. These are all garlic. Garlic gets planted here in November, and it is something that goes through the winter here and then gets pulled up around June. These onions were actually from store-bought green onions that I put in the ground, I believe in 2019. I actually dug them up and moved them to this house with us. These ones just stay in the ground. They separate and multiply, and then once a year or so I will come out, dig them up, separate them, put half of them in the freezer chopped up, and put the other half back in the ground to keep spreading out. Our daytime temperatures are getting up to around 50 degrees, and our overnight temperatures have been between 28 and 32 degrees on average right now. Now that can fluctuate a lot here in South Carolina, but our broccoli is doing amazing. We have more cauliflowers over here. Underneath my containers I have rutabaga, more cauliflowers and cabbages in there, and there's a lettuce back there under one of those. Those are just going to grow through the winter. In the spring we're going to take the covers off and let them keep growing and harvest them early spring. Because our summers heat up so fast, winter is a great time for us to plant lettuce. This lettuce is looking really great. We might have to cut some of this off and eat it, but it's a great time to plant lettuce or things that like it colder, that are not going to die if we have a little bit of a freezing temperature. Over here we have our asparagus. These asparagus are 1 year old, so we are not going to eat off of these this year. They're going to grow for another 2 years before we start eating the asparagus off of these plants, but they will continue to grow through the winter. They don't die, they just grow every year. When a plant grows through the winter, we call that overwintering. A lot of our herbs and brassicas can overwinter here in South Carolina. This is a rosemary. Back behind it, over here, is an oregano. These will be fine through the winter, and they'll really take off in their growth in the spring, but you can see they're growing really well. And back here, we have some kale. This kale has not gone to flower. We can still eat off of it. It looks really good. Kale does really well here growing through the winter. And over here we have another cabbage. You might think there's not much going on in the winter in the garden, but that is one of the best times to get caught up. I'm going to do some pruning, and you guys can follow along. I know this seems like a super harsh pruning, but I promise, if you come back in the spring, you'll see this does great coming back. It bounces back really well. By pruning it, it's helping the plant to bush out more instead of growing up. That makes the fruit easier to reach, so it's not so tall up in the air that we can't reach it even on a ladder, and it's better for the plant to keep it pruned. I know, seeing this and all of that chopped off is kind of terrifying, but I promise it'll be fine. can see my little maple tree that got buried by the elder bushes. Huge growth. It is in there still. And there's also some catnip under here still growing. You couldn't hardly even find that because the elderberry was so huge. There's a few elderberry shoots coming up out of the ground there too. I need to dig up and get potted up. Whew, it feels good to get that done. Now there's a lot more pruning that needs to get done. Well, the weather took a turn, so we're gonna have to put our pruning on hold until another day, but I can show you what I'm working on inside. I don't normally do a lot of videos from the inside of my house because it can be chaotic and loud, and that makes it hard to do videos. But since it's so gross, let me show you what I'm doing. So all of these were in one pot, and there's 3 more over here. I got all of these split up and put into their own pots, just propagated them. And so those will be in here establishing, and some of them will probably be available for the spring plant sale. I also had a bunch of pieces fall off of my Christmas cactuses, so I popped those in some plants to propagate those as well. Mother plant is over here. She had beautiful blooms for Christmas, and she's getting a few more blooms coming on there. I've got one little propagation in there. These fell off as well, so I threw those in there to make another plant. And I've got a few more Christmas cactuses on my kitchen table and an aloe that I keep in here as well. I take my avocado tree outdoors in the summer and then bring it back inside for the winter because they cannot survive the winter outside here in South Carolina. And then this plant down there is a lemon verbena. Same thing, if you leave it outside, it will die. So I just bring all of this in the winter time and then take it right back out. Once it's staying above 50 degrees overnight, those will go back outside for the summertime. So since it's such a rainy day, I'm going to hold off on the rest of my pruning until it clears up, maybe tomorrow or the day after. But in the meantime, I'm going to go set up my grow light and start getting some of my spring seeds started. But I am going to end this video here for today, and I will see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's always fun having your company. I'll see you later.